Don't ever come back here." Those were the last words my father said before slamming the door behind me. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just stood there on the porch, the freezing wind cutting through my jacket, snow falling softly under the dim porch light. It wasn't the first fight, but it was the last one I could handle. For months, tension had been building between who they wanted me to be and who I was becoming. My parents had always imagined a straight, safe life for me. Steady job, polite smiles, Sunday dinners. But I wanted more than a life that looked perfect from the outside and felt empty inside. That night, I told them I'd quit my office job to pursue photography. I thought they'd be disappointed, maybe even angry. I didn't expect to be exiled. Mom didn't say a word. She just turned her face away, tears caught in her lashes. Dad's jaw was tight, voice shaking, not from weakness, but pride. "If you walk out with that camera, don't come back." So I did. I walked into the cold night, each breath burning in my chest. I didn't have a plan, just a small bag, a few savings, and the kind of stubbornness you mistake for courage when you're desperate. The streets were quiet. The snow crunched under my shoes as I reached the main road. I looked back once, the house glowing faintly through the curtain of snow. It felt smaller than ever. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I couldn't go back. I spent that night in a bus station, camera clutched to my chest like it could save me. And as the first bus pulled in at dawn, I made myself a promise. If they ever see me again, it won't be as the child they rejected. It'll be as the person I became without them. The snow outside had stopped, leaving streets glazed in icy quiet. I wandered through them, bag over my shoulder, camera hanging from my neck like a shield. Every step crunching through the frozen remnants of winter felt like a small act of defiance. My parents had cast me out, and yet, for the first time in years, I felt an odd flicker of freedom. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I'd sleep or how I'd pay for the nights ahead. All I had was my camera, a few $100s saved from a job I had quit, and the stubborn resolve that I would not look back. The first night, I found a small cafe still open, its neon light buzzing faintly against the white streets. I sat by the window, ordered a black coffee, and reviewed the photos I'd taken on my walks, snow-covered roofs, the way streetlights caught the frost on tree branches, a stray dog shivering near the alley. Life was alive, even outside the warmth of home. The next morning, I slept in a small hostel room I could barely afford, the heater rattling like it was giving its last effort. I could still feel my parents' words buzzing in my head, a static reminder of rejection. "Don't come back here." I repeated it like a mantra, not to hurt, but to internalize the distance. Days passed. I walked the city streets taking photographs, knocking on doors for small photography gigs, teaching myself patience and persistence. Sometimes I would see couples holding hands, children playing in parks, and families celebrating together, and the ache of my absence hit me. The image of my parents' stern faces haunted me more than the cold. But slowly, that ache began to change. Instead of feeling powerless, I began to see the truth. They had no control over the life I chose now. Every photograph I captured, every project I completed, every small payment I earned for a portrait or a gig reinforced that I could survive and even thrive without their permission. One evening, after a long day of shooting the city at twilight, I wandered into a small bookstore to warm up. An old man behind the counter noticed the camera. "Ah," he said, "photography. You chase moments others miss?" "Yes." "Yes," I replied, smiling faintly. "And sometimes moments chase me." He chuckled, leaning on the counter. "Keep chasing. People like you make the world notice things that matter." His words hit me harder than I expected. For the first time, someone outside my family validated my choice, not because of tradition, expectation, or obligation, but simply because they saw me. That night, in my tiny room with the frost creeping along the window, I realized something profound. Leaving wasn't just a loss, it was an awakening. The world outside my parents' rules was harsh, but it was mine to navigate. And the life I was building, uncertain and messy as it was, had more honesty in it than any comfort I had known at home. I kept a journal, photographing not only the city but myself in it, the quiet triumphs, the raw nights, the first paycheck earned through my own work. Each page, each image became a testament. I survived. I chose me. I lived. Weeks went by. I still missed them, yes, but the pain became a thread of motivation rather than a chain. I learned to cook for myself, to walk streets I didn't know, to navigate conversations with strangers who became friends, mentors, clients. I discovered resilience I hadn't realized existed, creativity that flourished under pressure, and a stubborn confidence that could no longer be diminished by anyone's words, even my parents. One evening, after months of hustling and shooting, I stood on the frozen riverbank, camera in hand, capturing the reflection of city lights in the cracked ice. Snow fell gently again, like the night I left. Only this time, I smiled. That night, I wasn't walking away from my past. I was walking toward my life, fully aware that it belonged to me and me alone. For the first time, leaving felt like the beginning, not an end. And deep inside, I knew that when my parents finally looked at the life I had built, they would see me not as the child who defied them, but as the person I had always been capable of becoming. Months passed. I had built a small life, my own routines, my own space, my own achievements. The sting of my parents' words had softened into a quiet strength. I was no longer running from them. I was running toward myself. One evening, as I walked past the old neighborhood, I saw the familiar glow of our family home. A part of me hesitated. Memories of arguments, rejection, and cold snow filled my mind, but another part, stronger, nudged me forward. I knocked on the door. Mom opened it first, eyes wide with surprise, then fear. Dad appeared behind her, stiff, uncertain. I didn't apologize. I didn't demand forgiveness. I simply said, "I'm back." We talked for hours, not about blame or regret, but honestly about choices, boundaries, and love. For the first time, they listened without judgment, and I spoke without fear. Before leaving that night, Mom whispered, "We were wrong. We only wanted to protect you." I smiled. I know, and I learned how to protect myself. That night, walking back to my apartment, snow began to fall lightly, covering the streets in white again. It reminded me of the night I left. Only now, the cold felt cleansing, not punishing. Leaving had taught me freedom. Silence had taught me strength. And returning, on my terms, taught me that love isn't about control. It's about understanding, respect, and the courage to let each other grow. Some doors close to hurt you. Some doors remain open to remind you who you've become. That night, I realized I had finally found both.